Yahoshua chapter 4. And it came to be when the entire nation had completely passed over the garden that Yah spoke to Yahoshua and saying, "Take for yourself 12 men from the people, one man from every tribe, and command them, saying, Take for yourselves 12 stones from here, out of the midst of the garden, from the place where the Kohanim's feet stood firm. And you shall bring them with you and leave them in the camp in which you spend the night." And Yahoshua called the 12 men who he had appointed from the children of Israel, one man from every tribe. And Yahoshua said to them, "Pass over before the ark of Yah, your Elohim, into the midst of the garden, and each one of you take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, so that this shall be a sign in your midst when your children ask in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean to you? You will answer them, The waters of the garden were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. When it passed over the garden, the waters of the garden were cut off, and these stones shall be for a remembrance to the children of Israel forever." And the children of Israel did so, and Yahoshua commanded and took up 12 stones from the midst of the garden, and as Yah had spoken to Yahoshua. According to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, he took them over with him to their camp and laid them down there. Yahoshua also put up 12 stones in the midst of the garden, in the place where the feet of the Kohanim who bore the ark of the covenant stood. And they are there to this day. I love when I hear that in scripture. They are there to this day, because I go and research that and try to find out. And the Kohanim, verse 10, and the Kohanim who bore the ark stood in the midst of the garden until every matter was finished, that Yahuwah has commanded Yahoshua to speak to the people according to all that Moshe commanded Yahoshua. And the people hastened and passed over. And it came to be when all of the people had completely passed over, that the ark of Yah and the Kohanim passed over in the presence of the people. And the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh passed over armed before the children of Israel, as Moshe had spoken to them. About 40,000 armed ones of the army passed over before Yah for battle to the desert plains of Jericho. On that day, Yahuwah made Yahoshua great before the eyes of all of Israel, and they revered him as they had revered Moshe all the days of his life. And Yah spoke to Yahushua, saying, "Command the Kohanim who bear the ark of the witness, and let them come up from the garden." Yahoshua commanded the Kohanim, saying, "Come up from the garden." And it came to be when the Kohanim who bore the ark of the covenant of Yah had come from the midst of the garden, and the soles of the Kohanim's feet touched the dry ground, that the waters of the garden returned to their place and flowed over all of its banks as before. And the people came up from the garden on the 10th day of the first month, and they camped in Gilgal on the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of the garden, Yahoshua put up in Gilgal. And he said to the children of Israel, saying, "When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What are these stones? Then you shall let your children know, and say, Israel passed over this garden on dry land. For Yah your Elohim dried up the waters of the garden before you until you passed over, as Yah your Elohim did to the sea of reeds, just like he did with Moshe, and which he had dried up before us until we had passed over." 24. "So that all the peoples of the earth shall know the hand of Yahuwah, that it is strong, so that you shall revere Yahuwah, your Elohim, forever."